see the things. Okay, let me just do a couple minutes of things and we'll put you back on. So, thanks those of you who have joined us, and we're just now going live to our webinar stream. So those who are joining us literally from around the world, we're grateful to come to you again from the Walter Cronkite School for today's Cronkite Global Conversation. The Humphrey Fellows is a great program. We know about it here, and if you want to know more about it, you can Google it and find out how these international public relations practitioners, creative ad agency folks, journalists come to America and spend a year sharing with us what they've learned and maybe learning a thing or two from us. The program named after Hubert H. Humphrey, who was Democratic Senator from Minnesota and had such an inspirational life that Jimmy Carter, when Humphrey passed away in '76, President Carter decided to name one of the Fulbright programs after him. He believes strongly in global friendship and the idea that what each of us does as an individual has an impact far broader than that. And I think we know that from working with the Humphrey Fellows since last August when they came to us. This is our 7th year of having the Humphrey Fellow program at Arizona State University in the Walter Cronkite School. And gathered here live in this room are some folks who are their mentors, faculty mentors, friendship families, global friends. And it's just nice to have everybody here with us. This series of speakers that happens every Wednesday at noon in February takes a break after today, and we resume on March 1st. That is next week.
No, next week is
That's not next week. It's 2 weeks. Thank you. I don't know my calendar very well.
Next week we are in Nogales.
We're in Nogales, actually. These 10 Humphrey Fellows and 20 Humphrey Fellows from 17 other campuses around America will spend 2 days trying to understand what's going on in America's relationship with Mexico by going down to Nogales. Today, without further ado, we're going to have Leo come up from Belarus and talk about his own particular artistic view of the world and how he has so much creativity, which those of us who have had the privilege of knowing him since last August certainly know about that. Following Leo, Tina from Kyrgyzstan will share her insights from her country and also about what she's gleaned here in the United States. And then hopefully via Skype, we'll actually go live to Germany, where Laura is there at a German film festival to finish us up. So without further ado, Leo, take it away.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello.
So I'm Leonid Pashkovsky from Belarus. I have experience some background in new media, film production, and advertising. Last 4 years I spent in as an agency as a creative copywriter. So I'm going to talk about the film industry in Belarus, and I'm going to tell you a sad, unsuccessful, tough history of film industry in Belarus. But first, I want to introduce my country a little bit. So this is Belarus. Yes, we drink Dorsh juice. And our country is tiny, is smaller than Arizona State, and its population is 9.5 million people only, and it's decreasing, unfortunately. So our official language is Belarusian and Russian, but everybody speaks Russian. Only maybe 5 or 7% of the population speaks Belarusian. The capital is Minsk. We are almost all Orthodox Christians. Maybe 10% are Catholics. And what else? We have winter, summer, and all 4 seasons. It's cold and it's also hot. It's very different and cool. So we are a presidential republic, but we also known as the last dictatorship in Europe. So it's a tricky, thing about our politics. I'm going to talk about it more. And what else? We are in a bad economic situation. We are famous of our beautiful women and our beautiful national garments. Unfortunately, nobody wears such garments nowadays. It's only for holidays and performances on stage. We are also famous of our young girls, and boys are also really nice. So it's just, to let you know how our national dress looks like. What about connections between Belarus film industry and Hollywood? So we have some actually. This is Steven Seagal. Maybe, yeah, you are adult enough to know him. He came once to Belarus and he met Alexander Lukashenko, our president. Our president brought him to took him to his fields where.
Seagal, is that why he brought him there?
Sorry?
Did he bring him there because he admired him?
I don't know actually the story of that, why he came there. I don't know. It's a question, it's a big one. So here are Lukashenko feeding Steven Seagal with his own grown carrots. So here is Dolph Lundgren, also in Belarus, eating our national bread and drinking vodka, so he's not very happy, as you can see. What else? Actually, Louisburg mayor who established Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer studio was born in Belarus and immigrated to the United States. Scarlett Johansson has grandparents from Belarus, and Michael Douglas as well, and Harrison Ford as well, and Sean Penn as well. And that's it. That was about good things. So let's talk about bad. Belarus Film. This is the name of our national film company, which has almost a monopoly on producing films in Belarus. Since we were a part of the Soviet Union, our culture was Sovietic. It was the same as in Russia, as to say, and all our Soviet movies they were not Belarusian, they were Russian. But we had a couple of big names in film industry and music as well. And but after that, so this is one film. This is I can say the best Belarusian movie ever. And this is the best movie about World War II in the world. Yeah, this is Come and See by Ellen Klimov. The script was written by Alexei Adamovich. It's a Belarusian poet and writer, famous one. So this is a masterpiece, and many recognized Hollywood directors and cameramen and etc. They agree that this movie is something to take as an example. So watch it. I'm pretty sure you can find it in with subtitles in English. So then we also have Sergei Loznitsa. We can say we all love to say, okay, Scarlett Johansson is from Belarus, Sean Penn is from Belarus, Sergei Loznitsa is from Belarus. This is actually a Ukrainian film director. He was born in Belarus, but he studied in Ukraine. He works in Ukraine and makes his films there. He's a genius, as I think, as well. His feature movies and documentary movies are awesome. A couple of them, the most famous, My Joy in the Fog. In the Fog was made based on the novel of the most famous Belarusian novelist. It is about World War II as well. Maidan is a documentary film about Ukrainian revolution. So his films are translated to many languages, so you can watch them as well. They are masterpieces as well. So what about Belarusian movies? Since we got independence in 1991, our Belarus Film Studio was producing only films about World War II. That's it. Every year, films about World War II until 2014 maybe, and until this day as well. So obviously, audience is not interested in such films. Nobody watched them. I don't know what they produce them for. So now the industry in Belarus is almost dead. every year budget of the industry is about $3 million only. You can imagine what they can do with such money. And they don't even try to change something. But in the last 5 years, some personalities appeared and they started to change the situation on the film market independently. So the first thing on this market that was the film Above the Sky by Dmitry Marinin, and I was lucky to play the leading role in this film. And the history of this film is very, very tricky because back in 2012 there was United Nations Development Office in Belarus. They were thinking about a new project on HIV prevention among youth in Belarus, and they decided to do something very creative, very unusual, and they decided to make a TV series for youth, like the first really modern, contemporary, interesting movie in the history of independent Belarus. So they deployed the most famous Belarusian scriptwriter who works only for Russia. He writes Russian comedies and TV shows and series, and they deployed an unknown, no-name director from Belarus. I don't know why they did it. They had casting across all the country, so it was like a lot of buzz around this project because it was like first contemporary movie for youth, interesting about our life, about everything we see around us. But then, so expectations were high, very high. But then Andrei Koreychuk, this scriptwriter, famous scriptwriter from Russia, appears on the stage. Not on the right, on the left. Andrei Koreychuk. So he is a very interesting person. He was deployed as a scriptwriter for this project. He wrote a script, a bad one. It was like full of cliche. It was one huge cliche, but it was good for for the audience because it was a movie for like boys and girls 14 years old until like 20 years old. So it was like something good to start with. And he started to make this film, and somehow he is a very strong personality, and somehow in a process of making the movie, he kind of became a director, in fact. And then he started to do whatever he wanted to do with this film, to put some unapproved pieces into the script, some approved scenes, etc., and trying to put some more social context and content into the film. But what he did, he put a lot of contemporary music by independent young musicians from Belarus. It was amazing. It was a revolution because nobody allows to independent young musicians who make cool modern music to go to the radio or TV or whatever else. So he did this good thing. Then he put a song by a band from Belarus who is not allowed to perform in Belarus for almost 10 years, Lapis Trubetskoy, because their songs are often like political and they are a symbol of political opposition in Belarus. He put their song as well in this movie. So of course UNDP was not agree with that, and they decided, you have a contract, we paid your money for the script, just stop being a director, you're like not supposed to be here. But then when we stopped shooting, we finished shooting, he steal all the materials, all the video from the UNDP, and he edited his own version of the movie very fast and released it on internet without approval, anything, and it was a huge scandal. But he is a master of bad PR. He said, UNDP is banning my movie, he said, because I tried to to show some truth about our country, and they are like Lukashenko, they are banning everything, they are against truth, blah blah blah. So it was a huge scandal. Nobody were understanding who is right, who is wrong. But he did a great job. The movie became hugely popular. Like hundreds of thousands of people watched it online, downloaded from torrents on YouTube, etc. It was hugely popular, but UNDP didn't reach their goal because the project was dead. So on the one hand, it was a big success of the first modern movie in Belarus. At the other hand, it wasn't successful at all because nobody saw it in cinemas, nobody saw it in official screenings on TV. So, like officially now, it doesn't exist. Then, the next independent movie, Belarusian movie, was shot in Poland by a Polish director with Polish actors and paid by European government. It is totally funded by organizations who fight for freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of democracy in such countries like Belarus, and this was like their project to promote freedoms in Belarus. Obviously, the movie wasn't popular because as people are biased against Lukashenko, the same they are biased about these people who are like strong opposition because they believe, okay, they are paid by Europe, they can't do anything interesting. And this film is also not very good because it's just a big, huge bias against against Belarusian society. After that, our government decided to reply, and they get all the year budget of the whole movie industry in Belarus, $3 million, and decided to make a Belarusian blockbuster with A-level stars from Hollywood, with a director from Hollywood, with stunts from Hollywood, and all this stuff. $3 million, blah blah blah, a lot of advertising and very loud promises. But in fact, what we have now, we have as a director, we have William De Vital. Nobody knows who is it. He was born in Ukraine, and then he moved to Los Angeles, and he works as a stunt coordinator in Los Angeles. He never been a director, so we don't know. Actors are Natasha Alam, also Russian-born or Belarusian-born, nobody knows. He's like a Russian Hollywood half of actress. A-level Hollywood star. I forget to put the picture. So A-level Hollywood star is, what's his name? Forgive me, but it's an old man. He's probably 70 years old now. He was a big star in Hollywood in the United States maybe 30 years ago. Of course, nobody knows him right now. Nobody looks movies with him. So all the promises were high, and but the reality was very, very bad. The script was also very bad, full of stamps and cliche. So it was a lot of discussion around this film. At the end, the producer of the film, in fact, steal all the money, steal the film, and the film was screened only 2 times in Belarus in cinemas. It was like closed screenings for, I don't know for whom. That's it. Nobody saw this film. It wasn't in cinemas. He just stole it. He says he sold it to Asian countries, to America as well, but nobody never saw this film again. $3 million gone away. And again appears Andrei Koreichik, this talented PR person and newborn film director. He decided to use his own money and make really first independent Belarusian comedy. So this is Garage by Andrei Koreichik. So a very bad comedy with very, very bad jokes, very badly done, but with only $5,000, he made this film. He managed to screen this film in all the cinemas around the country, and many, 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 many thousands of people saw it. And people were delighted because the film is full of satire on our current society about, you know, all this. If you don't work, you have to pay tax because you're not working. About president, about bureaucracy, about all this stuff. So people were delighted to listen, you know, these tiny pieces of truth from the big screen. So despite the movie is horrible, this satire was enough to make the movie popular and to, you know, evolve this social conscious and belief in, yes, we have a culture, we can do something interesting, and we appreciate Andrei Koreichik did the thing. So it became popular, and then this year Andrei made another movie, guerrilla film. It's also like satire on our society. It's all about business in Belarus, movie industry in Belarus, and it was also quite popular, and it was screened in cinemas in this like New Year period, which is like very cool because it was competing with all these comedies with Russia, from Hollywood, etc. So this is a big success. Okay, I don't have any more time. Дякую, it means thank you in Belarusian, and hopefully such people like Andrei Koreichik will appear more and try to push their own art, their films onto screens, and probably in 10 years we're gonna see something cool from Belarus as well.
And it's going to be directed by you. We don't have time for questions.
Not a question. Coda key is Eric Roberts. Julie Roberts.
Eric Roberts, right?
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Andrew.
thank you.
Clarification.
You
Then
should
we
probably-
write
60, not 70.
That's important.
Gets more important.
We should leave at the end like 10 minutes for all the questions.
We're going to
All
do
the
questions at the end because we're, Pete is going up next. We're trying to Skype in live with Laura, who's in Berlin at the Berlin Film Festival. And then we promise you can stay as long as you want and ask questions. A little noise that you hear is Laura pinging us on Skype.
And she's listening also to my WhatsApp now. So
awesome.
since she have on and off there.
There you go. Take it away.
Good morning or good afternoon already. My name is Tina. My full name is Nurgul. I'm from the country Kyrgyzstan. And today I decided to talk about art and communications because I have a communication background, working in NGO sector for more than 10 years. And the organization where I worked, Soros Foundation Kyrgyzstan, part of the Open Society Foundations, used and have before in my country arts and culture program, and used many art instruments to promote justice, human rights, and open society in Kyrgyzstan. And so I decided to talk about the project of my organization. Why art? Sorry for the typos. Because I believe I'm not art expert. I never studied art, but I love art, and I think art makes us better human beings, better persons. And I think as a communication specialist, using art helps in a creative way to spread messages, especially for topics which is difficult to talk. In my area, it's human rights topic. Art is very effective as an instrument of dialogue with communities. It's easy through performances, through pictures, through photos to engage audience to talk about tough topics, difficult issues. Art also is a good instrument for the therapy and expression tool to vulnerable groups. And I will explain it more after. And art is a very good advocating tool to bring justice to the society. As I told, Soros Foundation works in my country since the independence of the country from 1993. And before we had arts and culture program, which supported different art initiatives and helped to many artists in my country. Also films. And Lena talked about Belarusian filmmaking industry. Kyrgyzstan was also very famous during Soviet time for filmmaking. It was even like we always tell, it was kind of Kyrgyz miracle in the cinema at that time. And Steven Seagal was also last year came to Kyrgyzstan, and he was the main celebrity. He was we were honored to.
Steven's working the region. He's working the region.
He has a world tour. He went to Serbia too.
Yes, and he expressed messages through his Twitter about our country, about World Nomad Games, where he was the main celebrity. So nowadays, Soros Foundation still through all other programs which we have, youth program, legal reform program, public health program, we are still spreading messages, using art tools for spreading messages and making campaigns. And I brought that quote, by supporting artistic endeavors, open society foundations help manifest most ambitious goals and ideas. Here are some pictures from the projects, social projects, which used art as a tool for the campaigns. The first picture is when NGO created workshops, theater, they used acting, media, and dancing, and helped kids from the Center for Orphans to develop their artistic view. Second project is from the series of urban activism projects, when we graffiti artists, street artists, they created graffiti in the capital, in the yards of the apartments. And this is also a picture from the, we call it Novostroyka, I don't know it's in English, the new houses which surrounded the capital. It's mostly inhabited by the internal migrants who came from the regions to the capital for the better life. And there is a very bad infrastructure in that locations. So we had project when mobile group of artists came to these areas to bring these creative tools to the kids in that areas. This project in the South capital Osh, photographer, shows to the disabled kids how to make a digital photo. And at the end of this project, we had exhibition where kids with the problems with deaf kids, they created photos. And we saw their vision of the problems. Also, one of the famous festivals on films on human rights, films Birdino Festival, which we also supported several years. It brings all films where all these social problems are covered, and it's international festival. And the last project where I also participated as a communication specialist. It was about drawings of kids who were in the hospitals and had diseases, and they draw their dreams for that exhibition. And one of the campaigns we developed through a public health program. Before, like several years ago, we didn't have an idea about palliative care, and it was very it was difficult to start to talk about this topic because people didn't know what is palliative care is. Palliative care is the help to the people who are mostly suffering from the unbearable pain and on the last stage of their life, I could say. And it's in my country, it's mostly the disease is oncology disease. So it's a mobile group who provides palliative care in Kyrgyzstan, which is also supported by Soros Foundation Kyrgyzstan. And I think I could say Soros Foundation was first donors who brought this topic to my country, and we implemented information campaign and used theater performances with the help of artists. And this project of Public Foundation Ergene, which created a performance with local theater Tunguch, and they had research on the problem on palliative care and pain relief in the country, because it was difficult to have access to the tablet morphine in my country, and they had an idea to spread and to gather problems from the patients, from the people from the country, and they created this performance and went and drove through all the country to very, very remote areas where they showed this performance and talked with people about palliative care, about pain relief, about access to medicine, and they gathered their voices for the campaign, which the name was the first campaign was Life Without Pain. And then here is some glimpse of this performance.
Меня поддержат все присутствующие здесь. Добавьте, пожалуйста, следующее в ваш протокол. Пусть сделают данный препарат, пусть в виде ампул или таблеток доступным. Например, кому интересно покупать лишний раз морфин? Во-первых, это затраты, а во-вторых, это необходимо малому кругу населения. Поэтому пусть данный препарат будет доступным в ГСВ. У них есть условия хранения.
Sorry, it's in Russian, but I just wanted to show that first it was performance in all these different villages. They showed the performance, and then after it, the NGO staff organized discussion with the audience what kind of problems people have in their villages on pain relief, and people started to talk about the topic, and it was easy through this theater performance to bring to raise awareness of the people and to raise the problem and to discuss. And then after that, the NGO gathered these voices into one petition and started to advocate for the right of these people on pain relief before the officials. Another example, it's still ongoing project, which I was in the implemented. I developed the strategy for this campaign. It's information campaign against torture. Torture still is big problem for Kyrgyzstan. And here is the example how NGO used, in Russian it calls plakatное искусство. I translated as poster art. It's also a form of art when through posters you can talk about such topics like torture, which is usually like it's difficult to talk. And here is maybe you don't see. Here is one of I think it's interesting poster of Alexei Lysogorov. It's white chairs, and one chair is covered by blood. It means like chairs. It's our society. We are living in our comfort zone and still don't pay attention on this very difficult topic here. And I hope, my organization now promoting Istanbul Protocol. It's protocol on documenting tortures in closed institutions, in jails. So I hope the efforts of my colleagues will be successful on this campaign. Another, I like this project because I was one of the, how to say, not initiators, but I was given idea that we can talk about human rights through some street art instruments. And last year when I was here, they implemented this project. It's big, giant glasses from metal, created by Doxa Art Group, one of the very famous group of artists for creating different art installations. And the name, the topics, like through these glasses, people see the sign. If you want to know about your rights, you should know about your rights. So you will see some. This project was implemented through Youth Action Fund program of Open Society Foundations, and it's not only just beautiful point in the center of its before the Kyrgyz National University and before the city administration, this art installation, but it's also the reminder to people to pay attention on their rights, and people also organize discussions on human rights issues near this installation. Another project, the graffiti against ecology, raising awareness on ecological problems in the city. Street Theatre Festival, which is also supported by youth program, and it's implemented by theatre company Mesta there in my country. it had very great success and involved kids and teens from that areas which I mentioned before, from the surroundings of the capital, from Novostroykas. Another also example, artists created a performance on the basis of stories of citizens and trying to bring the problems of the city of the capital Bishkek, and it's interactive. Fortunately, this all forms of arts is developing, and many other organizations, not only Soros Foundation, but other organizations trying to bring other form of arts like this to the city. This is also one of the examples of bringing art as a business model. This institution, which is called Pololo Art Studio, they're bringing art through their seminars, workshops for the citizens, and people are paid for it. Just to conclude my presentation, because I think it's out of time, I believe that art could be a great tool for talking about difficult issues, and also it's a good tool for implementing social campaigns and raising awareness of the people. And do I have time? No, I think no. Thank you.
Wonderful job. All right, through the miracle of Skype, we're going to try to bring in our last fellow, Laura, who's actually at the Berlin Film Festival. Oh, there we are. Laura. Welcome, Laura.
We don't hear you very well, Laura. We don't see. We don't see you. We don't hear you at all. We don't hear you. We don't hear you at all.
Laura, we are having a difficult time hearing you. We think you're speaking to us.
We don't hear you at all.
Well, while we're waiting to get this figured out, think of a great question for Tina and Leo. Maybe jumping into our Q&A session quite quickly here.
Hello, Laura.
I think the connection was just too low because she just lost it.
The last time. Hello,
There we go.
Laura. Where were you last time? That was perfect connection. Why did you move? We didn't hear you at all. Like at all.
Maybe she's on mute mode or something.
Yeah, she's Alma's communicating to her through WhatsApp, but doesn't seem to be happening. Well, who's got a question for Tina or Leo while we're, yes, Kanal.
I have a question for Leo. Probably I could not understand it. Maybe I missed a point. But if I understood it correctly, does government have a big role in promoting movies in your country? If so,
The only structure organization who can shoot and promote movies is government.
There's no private people.
Like there are in last, as I said, like 5 years, there are several individuals who make their own movies, but they were not professionals, because if you're a professional, you want budget, you want to do everything ideally with techniques, with like light, everything, blah blah blah. So those brave individuals who try to shoot movies very cheap, they did it, but they have no access to media. They have no access to these governmental funds, even to just promote movies or to make screenings in cinemas. So they just try to somehow promote them online, social media, and some of our online media, but it's obviously like tiny things.
Are there independent filmmakers?
Yeah, just a guy who have like
A camera and goes
camera and
$3,000
$3,000 and a couple of friends
Okay.
for actors, or he asked some actors to help him for free.
Yeah.
So yes, we have several projects like that, but they are not successful because there is no access to somehow sell, promote, just make a gift with this project.
So maybe, I don't know if Kunal's question was this, but one thing that I sort of have is maybe what he was also getting at. So like, there's a Hollywood blockbusters you can see in Belarus, right? You can see Hidden Figures will come.
Nobody can watch it, unfortunately.
Nobody can.
So this blockbuster was
Like a
screened 2 times only. 2 times, like not 2 weeks or 2 months.
Like the new Star Wars movie.
2 times.
The new Star Wars movie, for instance. 2 times.
I don't know.
So
Do you have an opportunity to? Are
I wasn't.
Are you qualified to apply for the Creative Europe? It's a huge fund.
Maybe it was audio.
Well, if we can hear audio, that's. Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Clear.
Laura,
Yes.
yeah.
because of our limited time, and it's not your fault, why don't you just tell us what you're doing in Berlin and what you've experienced there? I think that would be more, I know you've got a wonderful PowerPoint presentation, we'll share it with the group, but just tell us what you've experienced and what most surprised you most about the Berlin Film Festival.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bill, for this question, and thank you for this this event.
Try just audio.
Yeah, we're gonna try just audio because the connection's a little freaky.
Oh.
Maybe we'll try audio. There we go. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, she would have to stop it on her. And
Keep going. Can you hear us?
I'm saying that thank you for being such
I think you'll have to type us.
you can't really
The connection is really bad. It's really poor. Where's Chad? Forget what he
Maybe she should stay still. Let's try that too. She's moving a lot.
No, she
Well,
just has to
cut off
slow the
video.
camera.
Yes.
Stop
Stop the video. Stop the video.
Just audio.
Oh, yes, stop the video.
Now speak. Can you hear us now?
yes.
Okay. So try again with that answer. What is the biggest surprise for you at the Berlin Film Festival?
Yeah, it's to be able to
Unfortunately, Laura, it just doesn't seem to work. It's just a bad connection there in the hotel or via the phone. And we know you're having a good time. We're going to have you share what happened when you come back with our fellows. Let's try one more. Oh, wait, try one more time. Try that. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
A little bit.
Okay. I was saying that Ben
It's a satellite echo.
I wouldn't rely on that one.
Well, Laura, as they say in Germany, good knocks. Auf Wiedersehen and vielen Dank for your efforts. Thank you very much. There, we see your smiling faces. I don't know how to do smiles on Skype. I don't send smiles back. We'll send her a heart. Will that work? I don't know. Send her an emoji. But thanks, Laura. Travel safe. We look forward to hearing what's going on when you get back home. That's 8 hours. 7 or 8 bucks a day. Thank you, Laura. Auf Wiedersehen. All right, so let's just finish up here because we're almost out of time. Does anybody have a question? A question for Tina or one for Leo?
I was asking, does the Belarusian qualify to apply for the Creative Europe funds?
I don't know about it.
It's a huge fund for not only for the members of the European Union, for example, but country has to pay the tickets, like the government has to pay the tickets for that. So individuals can actually apply for a huge amount of money. And with Bosnia does, but it was a huge deal because, we had protests and everything, so they, at the end, it faded. But once you get in, you have enormous possibility to apply for all kind of funds for the art.
Go.
I have a question to Tina. Throughout all of these years, do you see some progress in perception of audience of these art projects, and if they are more effective than traditional communication tools?
For me,
Like
it's,
social change or just anything?
Yeah, just delivering important messages about human rights. What Tina showed us, are these tools more effective than traditional communication?
Great
I
question.
always rely on these tools, and if I will have some budget for making campaign, I will definitely use it. If it's, for example, going to villages, to remote areas to talk about torture or about, I will use the performance. If I want, for example, we had just one film about the destiny of the kids of labor migrants can raise an issue and bring, and media can immediately raise a topic and start to discuss on the problem. So in case, for example, of that campaign of palliative care, it's easy even to cover it when you say, you will come to this hospital, we will have the theater performance, and then after it, you will see the real problem. So it's, as a communication specialist, I could say it's easy also to invite media for such events. Then to invite them to round tables or to conferences where there is no clients, patients, and so beneficiaries of that project. Yeah.
One final question for either Leo or Tina. Yes, go.
Yeah, maybe not so much the question, but I would like to thank the speakers. I mean, it was very interesting and enlightening just to see the insights into the culture in your countries. But regarding the art messages and spreading messages, kind of social, very hard messages through art, now that we are reading that Humphrey Seminar book called Contagious, and it has very powerful messages that say that whatever you have to spread, it has to be either emotional, but then in terms, so that's why I think this art approach is so, I think, powerful, because it brings up emotions in people.
But I also think is that I think one of the things that donors like UN or Soros Foundation don't realize, or maybe they just maybe it's an arguable point, but I think it's also because many of those performances and messages that they try to spread are very sad, and that, as we know from Contagious book, one of the negative emotions that will not bring the spreading of the information is sadness. So I just wonder, how would you comment on that? Would you agree? I mean, did you come across any to this, or from films that you were?
I totally agree about your point with emotions, because as we see on examples of these movies, people appreciate when somebody shows emotions those people can't share openly. People understand that somebody shares the same emotions, and through these movies they can speak to the masses. Like in this case, the director became the voice of all these people who, of course, on their kitchens, they all discuss all these social topics, all this bureaucracy, taxes, president, blah, blah, blah. But you never can see such discussions in media, in press, on TV, never. So nowhere. So this film was like a revolution. I don't know how this guy managed to show this film on the big screen, because it's impossible. I mean, such things are banned in our country.
Which particular things?
Such things are like all these two last movies about garage, and the last one.
What is it for movies? Such things are banned.
Banned.
So that's back. Maybe I still didn't get the answer
No
to my
critics,
question.
no.
So there are not commercial movie theaters like we're going to go to this afternoon, like Harkins or AMC, that are playing movies to make money. All the cinemas in Belarus are controlled by the government.
No. All the cinemas are
Private.
Private. Some of them are mostly they are governmental, but some of them are private. But all of them showing Russian and Hollywood movies.
Okay.
But
not
get
money film. Hollywood movies to make money. Yeah. Okay.
And Russian as well.
Dubbed into Russian, like the latest Hollywood blockbuster dubbed into Russian. Okay.
I want to bring one case which is like a little bit controversial. This dogs art group, they created very beautiful graffiti 1 year ago. Sinikit, so it's blue. A blue whale, and it was very beautiful. People like it, people share it, and at that time it was good. And last months we had, and through I think Kazakh social media, Russian, there was a very bad case when one group, some group of people created some game. Through this game, teenagers involved and then commit suicide. And there were hashtags in it, and that graffiti was associated with that group. Even it was not kid, it was some of type of that's whales. And the owner of this building, he decided to raise it. And the artist also said, like, we agree with his decision, because if it's associated with such an issue and people are making this bad things, so like, it doesn't matter even if it's bringing positive message. It's just a case of about emotions.
Thank you, Tina and Leo, for teaching us about art and helping us understand it in a new and different ways and perspective of your countries and your cultures. Thank you very much for today. Thank you all.
So
have a cookie, so we don't know.
See you guys on March
Yes.
1st.
March 1st.
Always starts at 12 at noon.
Our next one. Plenty of water here.
You started earlier?
You want it? You want it? Not on studying in Hawaii right now. Just here for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Visit my family.
Yes, sure.
Where are you from? I'm from India. It's awesome food. Always a one food. Yeah, it's a nice place. And the weather is more or less like this. Yeah, it's pretty much. It's a little more humid. Oh, of course.
You're done. Keep talking. Take your time.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I was just in Japan for the past 2 years, and I knew a lot of Indian people. And a lot of Indians in Japan as well. There's a lot of Indians in Japan. Actually, probably more Nepal. People from Nepal, but probably like yeah, there's a lot of them. We can meet them all the time. So, what brings you to Cronkite? I'm friends with Bill. He goes to church with me, and so he was going to explain to me a little bit about careers in intercultural communications. I haven't like decided what I want to do in my career yet, but I want to do something abroad, get to know different cultures and different people. It's really interesting. Like India, I didn't know very much about India before I went to Japan and met a lot of Indians. There's not very much about it on the media. Yeah, it's so interesting. Is it? I think